COVID is kind of a fucked up place. Before we start, I just want to begin by saying that this video has a lot of heavy content. I'll be talking a little bit about depression, anxiety, disordered eating. So if you don't think that this is the right time for you to be seeing this content, I would highly recommend clicking out. I hope that you're doing well and that you're staying safe. Pretty much every single year that I was at Harvard, I faced some sort of mental health crisis that I had to challenge and overcome. I just really wanted to make an entire video addressing this issue because a lot of us college kids go off to college with bright eyes, thinking that this is going to be the most fun 4 years of our life. But for a lot of us, it isn't always, roses and rainbows and sunshine. There are a lot of things that we have to deal with and confront. Some things that may have already been simmering, and I'll get to that from my own personal journey later on in this video, but also things that directly come as a result of being underprepared for a whole host of things that college, especially colleges that are very intense, I will say, like Harvard, push you away. This video is not to deter people from going to college. That's not at all my hope for this, but instead, I'm making this video something that I wish I would have had access to before I went to college. Quick little background. Also, I feel like this video has been kind of serious so far. I don't know why I'm so serious today, but I have my little friend, Salvador Alistair, also known as Sally Alley, here with us to talk about all this serious stuff. I was very high functioning. I used to think to myself, it's okay that you don't have friends. It's okay that everything's shit. It's okay that you're really fat and ugly. It's okay that no one likes you. No one cares about you. You're never going to be good enough for anyone because at least you get your work done. That's honestly the dialogue that I told myself. That really bred an unhealthy behavior, because what it made me think from an early age was that as long as I get my work done, anything else goes. Now clearly there's an issue with that. I really truly believed that as long as I kept working and succeeding, I would become the person that everyone wanted to be around, that everyone would actually love and care about. I feel like because I was pretty successful, I got really good grades, I did well in the activities I did, I even got into Harvard. It almost felt like a lot of my social life and my recognition from my peers and my parents and my siblings and friends came from the fact that I had attached a lot of my self-worth to my work. And if I didn't have those things, then I wouldn't be worthy of anyone's attention, which is really sad to think about. Anyways, flash forward to me actually coming to America. Really wanted to make my freshman year special. I really thought it was going to be like the movies, and the first couple of weeks were great. And then reality set in. So the first thing was the culture shock. If you're going from the UK to America, it's not that big of a difference, right? Like you wouldn't expect it to be. But the way that people act is very different. They're very friendly, but also I feel like it's a fake friendly sometimes. The whole culture of saying, hey, how are you doing? As they walk away, that's kind of their way of just saying hi. And I used to actively try and respond, I'm doing well. And they would be like, oh, okay, gotta go, bye. Like, why did you ask me if you don't care how I'm doing, Doesn't make sense to me. The other interesting thing was I went to college in the autumn of 2016 or fall of 2016, and about 2 months in was when Trump was elected. This is when the penny dropped for me that a lot of the ideas that I thought were just hearsay, they actually were true, and this person was going to become the president of the country that I would be living in for the next 4 years, and that was a big moment for me. I saw so much shift, I feel, over the next 4 years in terms of culture, the headlines that were coming out, the hate crimes, who the hate crimes were against, people being emboldened, abortion rights, all these things coming into question. As someone whose home isn't in the country I went to college, you always live in a weird state of knowing that at any moment, potentially something could happen and maybe your right to be there would be taken away. That did happen. There were bans on several countries. I think they called it the ban on the Muslim countries. I'll pull it up here for you guys, but they literally banned these people from coming. They said, no, like you're not allowed to come. Sorry, bye. I know a bunch of you who watch this channel are internationals, but I think you can all relate to the fact that it's weird being international because a lot of universities have about 10% or less of their student body being international. And a lot of the other kids are just like,
what are you talking about? Like everything's gonna be fine.
It's not that trivial. We can't just go home. My home is thousands of miles away on the other side of the world. Harvard is the kind of place where people really fetishize how little they sleep. Oftentimes people will say,
oh my gosh, like I only slept 4 hours last night.
and then someone else will come in and be like,
Well, I slept 2.
and someone else will be like,
Well, I pulled an all-nighter, so, yeah.
and it's just kind of like, dude, these aren't things to be proud of. You're doing really bad damage to your health and also the quality of the work that you're able to produce. Yes, you might stay up all night one day cranking out an amazing paper, but if you consistently do that, it's not gonna get you anywhere in the long term. It's gonna be really bad. And what I found really worrying at Harvard was that there was almost like a culture of perpetuating this. Even this cult course that everyone does at Harvard called CS50, it's like supposed to be an intro to computer science. Personally, I don't believe it's an intro. Needless to say, at the end of that course, they had this event called like a hackathon, and you would stay up. Literally, this was course sponsored, the whole activity. They would put you in this huge, really beautiful building and say, okay guys, from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., you would be working on your project trying to make as much progress as possible in this hackathon, and then at 6 a.m. they would take you to IHOP and give you pancakes. At the time, all of us little like CS50 kids were so excited, like,
Oh my gosh, this is amazing, we're gonna get pancakes at the end of the day, blah blah blah, we're gonna get so much work done.
but dude, why were they promoting this behavior? Some of these classes really set the tone that in order to succeed and to be recognized by your professors and your peers, you have to sacrifice your well-being. I'm gonna call bullshit on that right now. I really hope that schools like Harvard can help students understand the importance of taking care of yourself in order to do well. It shouldn't be a question of, do I take care of myself or do I do this PSAT? They don't have to be mutually exclusive. Another thing that I found really hard to cope with was coming from a first-gen low-income background. It was interesting because I felt that I was floundering. I had never heard what office hours were. I didn't realize that American professors are incredibly approachable. Even if you're a first-year student and you're taking a course that's not in your department, the professor will still want to talk to you and get to know you.
I have no idea what's going on, why do they want to talk to me? That's insane.
Schools like Harvard and other Ivy Leagues try to make sure that everything's an even playing ground, but I don't think they do a great job, at least when I started. And in recent years, schools like Harvard have helped a little bit by allowing students to take initiative. They allowed a bunch of students to create a first-gen pre-orientation program. First-gen students could come on campus and learn about these nuances that they potentially didn't know about. That's a really great initiative, you know? It sucks that that took until maybe like 2018 to start because it definitely wasn't there when I came in. There are small incremental changes going into improving the situation. Now that 1 in 5 people who go to Harvard receive full financial aid, it's really important that we help them once they get through the gates. How are we going to help them do well and perform well? Harvard has a huge endowment. We're talking billions of dollars here. I think the school itself and the structures that it intends to set up can be very hit or miss. I'm really lucky that I got on well with the residential staff in my house. For example, over the course of the pandemic, I stayed on campus for I think maybe 6 weeks after we were told that we had to leave. And for 2 of those weeks, I was quarantined because I had COVID symptoms, even though I didn't have COVID. At this time, I was experiencing the peak of my eating disorder. They would deliver food to my door because I was in quarantine, I was in self-isolation, and I would only be ordering like Diet Coke and kiwis pretty much. After a day or two, someone who had been working in the dining hall packing these lunches for me contacted my resident dean telling them that I was not ordering food, and my resident dean reached out to me immediately and was offering me all sorts of resources and trying to understand what was going on so that they could support me. The communities at Harvard are where I found the most support because I did not have that same experience freshman year when I lived in a freshman dorm. In fact, I ended up not talking to my proctor or my resident dean because they both treated me in a very bad way, and I ended up having to speak to the dean of freshmen to help fix that situation before it got even more out of hand. Schools like Harvard should probably do more to make sure that the resources that they actually have are high quality and worth going to, because I have so many stories from friends and from me about counselors just saying weird things or not seeming like they know what's actually up. So yeah, that could be a whole other video. So, yeah. Anyways, once I got those things together, I was finally able to start enjoying college until the pandemic came along. My biggest takeaway is just to trust your gut. I was on a full ride at Harvard. I didn't pay a single cent in tuition. Someone else paid for me to be here, so I had to be a quiet little good student, or I had to be grateful and do everything that everyone told me to do and take all of this shit that if anyone threw me shit my way. That's not at all true. You are there on your own merit. You are a hard worker. You are entitled to the same rights as anyone else. And if someone tries to screw with you, you're gonna tell them to their face that they can't. Or at least try and take the proper channels to solve the issue at hand. The other thing is that there are so many resources available to you. Try to contact the Center for Wellness maybe at your school. There are different names for every school, just so that you have them. If you're already in college, reach out to them today. If you're about to go to college, try and figure out where they are, because you're never gonna know when you need them. So be prepared. If there was a fire in your house, you wouldn't wait until that moment to memorize 911. Also, my third thing is to know that you are not alone. And 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you that if you talk to the other people around you, there'll be other people going through the exact same things, thinking the same things, feeling the same way. And if you don't know anyone else, just know that I was struggling a lot in college, so much. Like, I was struggling all the way through to my senior year. Did it make me a lesser person? No. Did it mean that I couldn't get my work done? No. Did it mean that I'm not successful? No. So yeah, this is just a period of time of 4 years where you think it's gonna be rainbows and sunshine, and then, you know, shit hits the fan and it's completely something else. Nothing is worth sacrificing your mental health for and your physical health for. This was a big video for me. I feel like I just came out of a therapy session. Harvard is simultaneously one of those periods in my life where I felt like I learned so much, obviously about academic stuff, but I learned so much about myself and who I am and what I'm capable of and what I care about, what I want to do, all of these questions. And I also saw the darkest sides of myself and the little voices in my head that have so much power over how I feel and what I do. Would I go back and change things? Honestly, I guess I would, but I don't regret that things happened the way that they did. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave some resources down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. And Sally Alley says bye too. Bye!